Hi, it's Rachel, and welcome back to the 31st episode of Yarn Equals Joy. I couldn't remember what we're doing here. I'm in a little bit of a different spot, but same podcast, same format. Yarn Equals Joy, episode 31. Today is December 30th. 2021, getting to the end of this year. Rachely Book Girl on Instagram and Rachely on Ravelry. And hopefully this will be the screenshot instead of some crazy thing. So I hope that those of you who celebrate Christmas have had a lovely holiday, hopefully safely gathering with family and friends. I celebrate Hanukkah, so our celebrations were much earlier, and so this was a quiet respite, which was much needed from the busy school year. And as you can imagine, since you are all knitters, a lot of knitting has happened in this sort of quiet space where I have time to sort of plan projects and think about things. So let me first start with my big finish, and I have lots to talk about. It has been amazing in some ways and disappointing in others. So that is the Habitation Throw, which I did as a baby blanket and rainbow. And let's see how much of this you can see. This sort of gloriousness starts with the blues, goes to the purples, goes to the pinks, goes to the oranges, finishes up with the yellows. And it's a great size. The lace blocked out beautifully. I was able to, put it on the blocking mat and really get everything sort of nice and spread out and even. But I have a couple issues. So some I think are just me being rushed and silly, and others I think are a factor of the pattern. So because there's so many ends and it's so lacy, I felt that there really weren't good places to hide the ends or easy ways to sort of weave in the ends. I tried to sort of go into the I-cord bind off, but it was just really slippery, and it's really a loose gauge, and the yarn, the white yarn in particular, was a little splitty, and when I started sort of cutting off the excess, I think I snipped, into a thread, and yeah, long story short, unfortunately, there are two spots where I had to use a considerable amount of fray check. And they're little spots, but it's annoying to have, sort of a hard thing in a really soft, gorgeous baby blanket. So, I don't know, maybe over time, if I soak it again, maybe it will soften up a little. I'm obviously not sending it to knitters. I don't think it has a long shelf life anyway because it is so super lacy, and I can just see things getting snagged on it really easily. So I may just go ahead and send it, as is. But that was a little disappointing and would probably stop me from making another one in that weight. Although I love the idea of the rainbow, I love the idea of the white in between. I love the way it allowed me to use up a million colors of yarn that I have, and I have so much extra fingering weight yarn. So that was just, that part of it I loved, and it was super easy, memorizable, which if you've watched my podcast at all before, I'm super into things that are really sort of calm and easy. But I have cast on a lot, and then I think I should call this episode Whips and Rips and Faux. So we've seen the faux, the finished object. Let me tell you about the rip. So as some of you have seen in past episodes, I did do the Stephen West Shawlography mystery knit along for the first time to do a Stephen West pattern, for the first time to do a mystery knit along, a lot of firsts. And I really love color, and I picked out a lot of wild colors, and I think looking at some of his other designs, like the Slip Stravaganza, that I might have been happy with my choices. But as you know, I really wasn't thrilled with the choices, and I kind of got stalled out. And I knew it would be hard for me to keep up with school, but I kind of got stalled out around the 2 wedges. I got like a lot done on the first wedge. I hadn't finished it though. And my plan was to sort of pick it back up and, you know, work on it during these vacation weeks when I sort of had more brain space and time. But I realized I kept putting it off. I kept thinking, do I really want to do that? And I'll rewatch the Stephen West videos, and that'll sort of get me motivated. Hold on, I'm gonna let the dog in, sorry for the break. So, you know, I had real plans of picking it back up and trying to figure it out. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought it's going to take some brain space. To be honest, I haven't seen any that I've been madly in love with. I love stripes, but there's something about those multicolored stripes that just was not working for me. I know that people change that, but again, I thought if I'm gonna go through the effort of really making this my own and changing it, I should kind of love what's there, and I didn't really. Another thought was there were so many colors that I wondered sort of how I would end up. Sorry, the dog's drinking water. I'm downstairs. That is one of the problems of filming downstairs. I forgot about. So yeah, so I haven't ripped it out yet, but I'm this close. I'm gonna do it. I stalled because I kept thinking maybe I'll have a change of heart. I put so much work into it, and I did. But there just were so many things that were keeping me from doing it, and so many projects that I was more excited about. I saw on another podcast, someone showed the Botanic shawl by Stephen West, which is very different stylistically than a lot of his other designs. It's really a color changing yarn, like as I think he used the Zower Ball Crazy. And then a solid, and it really ends up with a fabric that looks almost woven. So that may be something that I would try. I love the look of the ones I've seen. And it allows for the color, but without all the crazy patterns going on as well. And also it's a color changing yarn, so you know there's that sort of ease of it as well. So I did not just cast on, I did look around at some of my older whips, and one was a baby blanket that's been on the needles, so you've seen it before, and I haven't made a huge ton of progress, but I have picked it up again and realized that I am committed to this, and I do love this. It's the Northeasterly blanket by Skananigans, but I'm doing mine all in Koigu. And it's just done in these strips, and I just think this is kind of a blanket that will be really, really special and looks really special. I will save this, I think, for a grandchild of mine, God willing, as my grandmother used to say. So I've been working on that. This is this Koigu that I'm currently using. Their colors are just so gorgeous, and I'm using little signature, like mini needles in, I think it's a size 2. And I just love the fabric I'm getting. It's super squishy. It's a really nice, easy pattern. And I just think it has a really unusual look with all these rich koigu colors. So that's an older whip that I have pulled out again. And then I joined the Musselburgh hat craze that is sweeping the knitter's internet world. It's a pattern by Isolde Teague. If anybody hasn't heard of it, the thing that was sort of keeping me from trying it was people were talking about this fiddly pinhole cast-on thing, and I thought, yeah, I don't want to mess with that. I'm so used to doing hats from the bottom up. You don't have to mess with anything like that. But then, you know, here I am with all this time and freedom to do as I choose, and I thought, I'll just learn it. I'll just try it and learn it. And it was not hard at all. There was a great tutorial. There is a kind of pinhole cast on that has a woman's name. It's called like Emily Oker, and it's listed in the pattern. And that's the one I used. I Googled it on YouTube. I had the right kind of crochet hook, and it was super, super easy. So I am using Felici fingering weight in the color Base Jump from Knit Picks Felici, and I had this in my stash. And it is really a fun striping, self-striping pattern. The only thing that I am not sure of, and again, I'm doing this on size 3 16-inch needles, it looks super small. So I'm not a person who's really familiar with gauge or checking gauge, and that's something else that was kind of keeping me from this. But I thought, how hard could it be? So I think it was like 7.5 stitches. And so I used those numbers for an adult medium size hat. I probably should have done an adult large number because it's probably for one of my sons and I would probably make a large for them, but I don't know. We'll see. I think if worst comes to worst, it will be sort of easy, fun knitting, and it'll end up as a gift for some kid somewhere, sometime. But after you get done with the increases and before you do the decreases, it's just lots and lots of knitting in the round. And because you can use, you know, these circular needles, and because the Felici keeps, you know, your interest with all these gorgeous color changes, and it is this color, confession, I just ordered more of it because I went on to see if they had a color that would match it, because I thought it might be fun to do a solid for the second half, and then the hat would be reversible, I guess. But then of course I thought, God, I love this color so much, it would make really cool socks or mitts or something. So I did order some more Felici. They really have a crazy marketing thing going because the colors disappear. And if you are a yarn hoarder like I am, you want to make sure you have it if you want it, and it's so inexpensive. So it has the fact that it's incredibly reasonably priced. It's a limited time for the colors, and it's a good product. And so they got me, yeah. But anyway, I ordered some other things from their website, so I should have those when we podcast next. So that's 2 whips. And then the third whip I'm gonna show is the second Simple Pleasures hat. So I made the first Simple Pleasures hat, and I showed it last time by Pearl Soho. It's down here, so I'm gonna just grab it. I'm sorry, so disorganized. So the thing about the Simple Pleasures hat is, and I added a really fun pom-pom, and there's my label. I don't know if I had that on it then. So the thing about this hat that's so fun is you can use up like a favorite skein of fingering and then just add a skein of mohair to the top. So it's super soft and cozy. really, really fits well. I love this bright pink. So anyway, before I went to New York last month, I cast on another one in this gorgeous color by La Bien-Aimée. That's showing it really well. This is what it looks like in the hat. You do this super, super, super long ribbing, and then you add in, and I didn't have the matching mohair, but I had this gorgeous grayish lilac-y color from Kid Silk's, Rowan's Kid Silk's. I couldn't find a colorway name on it, but I think that will look really pretty with it. So a lot of my knitting right now are knits that I imagine will go into the Hanukkah gift pile for next year. And one of the things I realized was I really do like having handmade gifts to give people. And if I just start planning that in September, then I can't really get anything else done. So because there's so many patterns that I found, like those mitts that I showed last time that were a big hit when I brought those up to New York. Huge hit, actually. So if anybody has 20 or 30 something kids or grandkids and wants to have a pattern that they will really think are cool, let me see if I can find the name of those mitts for you. That was from the last podcast, which would be episode 30. They're called the Point Edwards mitts by Fairlight Fibers, Point Edwards mitts. And they're the ones that had the little like turtleneck top. These are my little pictures. This is how I keep my podcasting notes, and I have these little images so I remember sort of the FOs that I showed. Maybe I didn't have that hat shown. I can't remember. I don't know if I showed this or not, but it just came out really well. It has so many sweet colors and just really nice. So my final project that I'm going to show is a Caitlin Hunter Boylan Knitworks new pattern. So she just released this beautiful sweater with this giant fish design. And I don't know, there's just something, I love the coast and coastal towns, and I love the ocean, and I just was very much drawn to that pattern more than some of her other patterns. And I've actually met her years ago at a knitting retreat, and she was the most lovely human. I mean, so down to earth, so real. So anytime I can support her, not that she needs my little support, but anytime I can, I'm very happy to do that. So I don't think let's see if I have a picture of it. So there she is wearing it. It's the Halibut Cowl. So it's the same pattern, but just on a cowl. And I went and looked in my stash, and I actually had a gorgeous Madeline Tosh DK in Flycatcher and a Madeline Tosh DK in Antique Lace. And those two colors I knew would just be perfect for this. And I will show you what I have so far. I really do enjoy doing color work. So I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to see because it's on needles, and obviously, but you can sort of see how it's working up. So the way the pattern goes, there's like, you know, the fish tail, and then on the other next to it, there's the fish head, and then it obviously reverses on the top of the cowl. But this is actually probably going to be for my oldest son in New York because he loves knitwear, as we know, but he also loves that style. And that kind of cowl that's not fussy, it tends to look more masculine. It keeps your neck warm when you're, you know, sort of running around and out, but without something that is going to, you know, be fussy, that you're going to have to mess with if you're at a restaurant. And, you know, they are always walking places and stopping places and going out. That's the kind of place they live. And if it's something that, you know, could easily fall off or get lost, that's really less user-friendly than that kind of cowl. So those have worked really well. I love knitting them. He loves wearing them. It's a win-win. So other kinds of joy, I didn't really prepare anything. I've been doing a little bit of reading. I've been doing a little bit of, well, more than a little bit, a ton of watching. There's a show that it was not something that was ever on my radar, Bosch, B-O-S-C-H, and it's like a detective, Los Angeles detective. It's based on books by, I think, Michael Connelly. So I'm really enjoying watching that. There are a lot of episodes, a lot of seasons, so it's fun to kind of dive into something that, you know, a new world that I had not known about and sort of get lost in that. I discovered, I think it's called Daglish on Acorn TV, which follows a P.D. James detective who is also a poet, which I loved. And those were so interesting that I went back, and there were only a few episodes and I was hungry for more, so I ordered 2 P.D. James Daglish novels, and I've just started the first one of those, and that's been really interesting. I'm always up for a good British mystery, so that's definitely fun. And then other than that, I have a couple yarn purchases that I think are coming today, which will be exciting, and I will show you those at another time or when they are projects. And discovered some newer podcasts, but I did not write those down either, so I'll have to be better organized next time. But I think that's enough. I just wanted to pop in and show you the rainbow Habitation Throw blanket and some of the whips, and say Happy New Year, and to send my thanks to you for watching and coming along on my little fiber journey, and also to wish you and your family and your loved ones a very happy New Year, a healthy and happy 2022, and a year that we can all breathe a little more freely and relax a little more. I think we have very much earned it and deserve it, and it's time. So that is my wish for us, for all of us. Thank you for watching. Yarn does equal joy in my world, and I imagine in yours as well. Bye.